All praises to Yah. I'd like to thank Yah for the Holy Spirit, for which is knowledge and wisdom. And I am reading from the Bible Paraphrase, Revelation chapter 2. And I hope you can see it. Try to focus it. Revelations chapter 2. Write a letter to the leaders of the church of Ephraim and tell him this. I write to inform you of a message from him who walks among the churches and holds their leaders in his right hand. He say to you, verse 2, I know how many good things are you doing. I have watched your hard work and your patience. I know you don't tolerate sins amongst your members, and you have carefully examined the claims of those who say they are apostles but aren't. You have found out how they lie. Verse 3, you have patiently suffered for me without quitting. Verse 4, yet there is one thing wrong. You don't love me as at first. Verse 5, think about the times of your first love. How different now. And turn back to me again and work you did before, or else I will come and remove your candlestick from its place among the churches. Verse 6, but there is this thing, Salakia, but there is this about you that is good. You hate the deed of the licentious, the Nicotanians, just as I do. I know I'm not pronouncing them two words right, but I pray to y'all follow with me with y'all King James Version. All right, Salakia. But there is this thing, Salakia, there is this about you that is good. You hate the deeds of the licentious and the Nicolaitans, just as I do. Let this message sink into the ears of anyone who listens to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. To everyone who is victorious, I will give fruit from the tree of life in the paradise of Yah. To the leaders of the church in Samaria, write this letter. This message is from him who is the first and last, who was dead and then came back to life. Verse 9, I know how much you suffered for Yah, and I know all about your poverty, but you have heavenly riches. I know the slander of those oppressing you, Salakia. I know the slander of those opposing you, who say that they are Jews, the children of Yah, but they are not. For they support the cause of Satan. Verse 10, stop being afraid of what you are about to suffer, for the devil will soon throw some of you into prison to test you. You will be prosecuted for 10 days. Remain faithful, even when facing death, and I will give you the crown of life, an unending, glorious future. Verse 11. Let anyone who can hear listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. He who is victorious shall not be hurt by the second death. Verse 12. Write this letter to the leaders of the churches and Paraphrase. This message is from him who wields the sharp and double-edged Salakia. This message is for him who wields the sharp and double-bladed sword. I am fully aware that you live in the city where Satan's throne is, at the center of satanic worship, and yet you have remained loyal to me and refused to deny me. Even when Antipas, my faithful witness, was monitored among you by Satan devotees. Verse 14. And yet I have a few things against you. You tolerate some amongst you who do Baal Salakia. I'm going by 14. Verse 14. And you have a few things against you. You tolerate some amongst you who do as Baal did when he taught Balak how to ruin the people of Israel by involving them in sexual sins and encourage them to go to idol feasts. Yet you have some of these very same followers of Balaam amongst you. Verse 16. Change your mind and attitude, or else I will come to you suddenly and fight against them with the sword of my mouth. Verse 17. Let everyone who can hear listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. Everyone who is victorious shall eat of the hidden manna, the secret nourishment from heaven, and I will give to each of a white stone, and on the stone will be engraved a new name that no one else knows except the one receiving it. Write this letter to the leaders of the church and Thyatira. I'm not pronouncing that word right, but bear with me. Verse 18. Write this letter to the leaders of the church and Thyatira. This is a message from the Son of Yah, whose eyes penetrate like flame of fire, whose feet are like glowing brass. Verse 19. I am aware of all your good deeds, your kindness to the poor, your gift and service to them. Also, I know your love and faith and patience, and I can see your constant improvement in all these things. Verse 20. Yet I have this against you. You are permitted that woman Jezebel, who calls herself a prophetess, to teach my servants that sex sins is not a serious matter. She urged them to patiently, immorally, and to eat meat that has been sacrificed to idols. I have gave time to change her mind and her attitude, but she refused. 22. Salakia, verse 22. Pay attention now to what I am saying. I will lay her upon a stick bed of incense inflammation, along with all her immoral followers, unless they turn again to me, repent to their sins with her, and I will strike her children dead. And all the churches shall know that I am he who searches deep within men's hearts and minds, and I will give to each of you whatever you deserve. Verse 24 and 25. As for the rest of you and Thyatira, who have not followed these false teaching, deeper truth, and they shall call them depths of Satan really. I will ask nothing more It's like I will ask nothing further of you. Only hold tight to what you have until I come. Verse 26. To everyone who overcomes, who is the very end, keeps on doing things that please me, I will give power over all nations. Verse 27. You will rule them with a rod of iron, just as your father gave me to the authorities to rule them. They will be scattered like a pot of clay that is broken into tiny pieces, and I will give you the morning star. Verse 29, let all who can hear listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. All praises to Yah. Want to thank Yah for the Holy Spirit. That was the Bible Paraphrase. Copyright, published, 1525. And with that, I say, Shalom.